Happy Thursday and welcome to my little world. I'm glad you're with me today because, as always, it's a good day. It's a Thursday, and I like Thursdays. I hope you do too. Anyway, let's go to the year 1969. Made some great cars that year. But in 1969, Robert Lamm, a keyboardist and singer, put together a song that his group sang and made a big hit. Simple song, simple message. You see, Robert Lamm, years earlier, had been, as a teenager, walking down the streets of New York. Passing by a theater, he saw an usher nearby and hollered at him and said, "Hey, what time is it?" Instead of checking his watch and giving a straightforward answer, the usher responded to him, "Does anybody really know what time it is?" Smart aleck. I like it. Because the fact is, how do we really know what time it is? We measure time, we work with time, and so forth and so on. But Robert Lamm, years later, when he was working with his group, trying to come up with a song, thought of that line. You got it. And so he wrote the song that the group he was with put together for a big hit. A simple, straightforward song that you still hear playing today from the rock, seemingly big band group, Chicago. Does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care? Those questions are kind of interesting, but the reality is I think we do care what time it is. That's the way we are. We wear watches on our wrists sometimes. We carry phones in our pockets. We check regularly. They're in our cars, in our place of business, on our desks, by our beds. We're interested in what time it is. You wake in the middle of the night. It's dark outside. What do? You check the clock. You think, what time is it? And then you lay back down thinking about how much longer you have to sleep. Time. And what time it is. Are we late for work or school? How much longer do I have to be here? What time is it in the afternoon? What time do you get off work? What time do you show up for work? What time does school begin? What time does that class begin or end? What time will you meet me? What time should we go to dinner? We think about time a lot. We're engaged in it. And I know of quite a few people who are wondering about time because I look at them every Sunday morning and they look at me and thinking, isn't it about time he quit? In all seriousness, we do think about time. But do we really know what time it is? We measure time as we want to measure time. We break it down, we think about it. We've got our 24-hour days. We've got our 365 and a quarter days a year. We measure time in the rotations of the earth and its moving around the sun in its great orbit and so forth. We measure time. And there are other ways we measure it. Smaller amounts, tiny, tiny, tiny amounts. But does anybody really care what time it is? When we're young, very young, we don't think that much about time except as the adults press it on us. We don't think that much about its passage. And sometimes even as we get older, we don't think much about the passage of time, that a day has gone by and we'll never see that day again. How much time do we have left? Maybe something that comes into the mind of those of us who get a little bit older. I wonder how much time I've got. Is there more behind me than in front of me? Most definitely for somebody like me. But how and why and what does it mean as we measure time? It's about awareness. It's about knowing where we are. It's about knowing what we're doing. It's about meeting the things that we want to meet and the challenges that are before us. It's about cooperating with others and being able to relate to them in a positive way. You see, everything that we know of reality, of tangible nature, is tied up in time. It has beginnings, it has ends. Some of it long before we were born, and some of it long after we're probably gone, if the Lord wills. But it's still bound in time. The passage of each day and so forth reminds us. It's time. And with time in mind, it's a good thing to remember what time it really is. In the 13th chapter of Romans, Paul wrote, "And do this knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now our salvation is nearer than when we first believed." Paul's got a great reminder there. Let's get busy doing what we're supposed to do. Be aware of where we are and know that time is moving and we're ever nearer to what is standing before us. We may in our lives have short-term and long-term goals, but they're all related to time. How long, when, how much. And so time is of vital importance to us. So if the usher begins to ask and say, does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care? To the second question, the answer is easy. Yes, I do really care. And to know what time it is to be aware. It's not about whether it's 12 noon or 12 midnight or 2 in the afternoon or 2 in the morning. It's about being aware. It's about being aware that time is moving and it's something to be used and it's something to be considered, and it takes us ever nearer, whatever that might be, that goal in front of us, and our eternal hope. I do care what time it is, and I hope you do too. Well, friends, it's a great Thursday, and it is about time to stop talking for a while. So, glad you were with me today. We'll share some more things a little further down the road, but glad you're with me today, and I hope you have a great day. It's a blessing to you and a blessing to others. Be aware of the people around you. For those folks at Southern Ridge that are watching, be aware and check on those who are dealing with chronic problems and so forth. Some of them we've announced, sent out by emails and so forth. Good things are happening, and guys, breakfast Saturday morning. Hey, just might be good. Kids, epic, great things. Anyway, good days ahead of us. I'm glad you're with me today. We'll look forward to talking more a little further down the road. Thank you now.